I just can't take no pleasure in killing nothing. Just some things you gotta do. Don't mean you have to like.
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
You want to know what happens to an eyeball when it gets punctured? You got any idea how much blood jets out of a guy's neck when his throat's been slit?
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
What up, everyone? DJ Nubis here with you in the Meltdown Radio podcast. Here with my ghoul brother from the ghoul mother, Mr. Tony the Dead, and we are the Ghouls of Midnight.
Yes.
Where each week or each episode we take an choose a movie to pick to review. We alternate. This time around, it's my pick for 1976's Blood Stalkers, which you can find on Tubi right now if you want to watch that, if you're just watching this recording as we speak. It's directed by Robert W. Morgan and stars Ken Miller, Toni Crabtree, Jeri Albert, and Sissy Cameron. And the plot is two tourists in Florida are attacked by a chilling group of backwoods psychopaths. Good old redneck killers.
Oh, yeah.
So, before we get into our review, let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer for Bloodstalkers and see what it's all about.
The Florida Everglades sets the stage for a day of deadly fear and a night of sheer terror for two vacationing couples when they dare enter Bloodstalker country. They thought it was just a legend, but an old poacher warned them.
Well, all I did was ask you if I was on the right road or not.
You're on the right road to hell. Now you go do what I told you to do. Get on, get out of here.
The old poacher's superstitious sons make the warning clear. Strangers are never welcome in Bloodstalker country.
You know, about a year we didn't hear much from him just before he got out. He was in a mental ward.
Weird sights and sounds will take Mike's sanity to the breaking point. But to Mike, it is just a legend.
Cool it.
What'd you get?
2 more. Would have had 3. Big gut here missed him. Big bastard, too. Must have gone 8, maybe 10.
Missed him? I didn't miss him. How could I miss him?
You missed him.
Well, I couldn't have missed him, you bloody idiot. I didn't even shoot.
They try to laugh it off.
I knew the monster was near.
Oh, hey, come on.
I slowly turned.
Come on.
I could hear the gasping breath as I reached for the door.
A frantic cry for help brings instead deadly pursuit when Mike finds he is now the quarry of still another danger. The poachers stalk him. They want his hide. But not even the children of God will help the prey of the Bloodstalker. Back at the cabin, Daniel finds himself face to face with a legend that lives and breathes to kill. Everyone goes mad. Everyone wants to kill. Everyone wants to die. Is it reality? Is it insanity? Where were you on the night Daniel died?
Yeah. So I found out, of course, through this that there is an alternate title called the Night that Daniel Died. But as you know, you've seen this now. Did you see this before?
Mm-mm.
So obviously through this movie, it's actually Mike who ends up being the main protagonist throughout the entire film. But somehow our guy Ken Miller playing Daniel is the one they focused on in the trailer, and then of course the title, which is very interesting to me. So what was your first impressions of watching this?
It was a long movie to watch. Felt like forever. It dragged out a lot. It was very hard to see a lot of it. Was very dark. I know, the times and everything, but it's very dark of a movie. But I did jump a few times. Like I jumped it watching the trailer again now where he first goes to the car and you hear that thing.
Yeah.
It scared the shit out of me again. I went, it got me again. But yeah, I don't know. The trailer makes it look like it's more interesting.
Right. Well, yeah, there's a big build up and setup, and there's also like talk about what is the Bloodstalkers, and it's almost like it had no direction when it was being filmed. Like they don't really know what they were doing. They kind of just went by the seat of their pants.
Yeah.
But I remember this is one of the reason why I wanted to watch it, because this is one of these films where sometimes late at night when I go to bed, I'll just throw on Tubi and play it throughout the evening, but I'll be asleep through most of the stuff. But occasionally, like for like Night of the Werewolf or this, I'll wake up and I'll see a portion of something and say, "Oh wow, that looks kind of cool. I think I'm gonna maybe pick this, further down the road so I can watch the whole thing." And sure enough, I caught like maybe the last 15 or 20 minutes of this film, and I'm like, wow, the kills look pretty fucking amazing. I think this looks pretty decent. I might have to check this out and do it with Toni,
Yeah.
because and there are parts about it that I do kind of enjoy. Like you see that slow motion with Mike running through the swamp, and that whole choir music's going on while it's happening. So that's kind of a nice effect for the vibe that's going on at that time, where he's trying to get back to his friends. But so yeah, we have our two groups of couples here. We got Mike, and this is, I believe, this is Kim, played by Crabtree. Very good looking chick.
Oh yeah.
And then, of course, I don't have a picture of Jeri. It's from Sissy Cameron, but of course, this is Daniel, played by Ken Miller. One of the funny things about Daniel is that he's doing that whole thing in the trailer where he's trying to be spooky and he's trying to scare Jeri and all that. And then the minute something grabs her, he like turns into the biggest puss of all pusses.
Yeah. Just sweat pouring down his face.
Right. Like he can't contain himself. He's like,
yeah.
Like, but yeah, so these two groups of couples are traveling on vacation, and Mike has a cabin, a cabin that his parents once owned in the Everglades. But he hasn't seen or been there in quite a while, and I think it's been kind of dormant for like 8 years or something, until they finally said, "Here, you can have it," or whatever. So they're traveling down there, and he's trying to remember because he hadn't been there since a kid. And they end up coming across this group of guys who, the older man owns like a gas station along the way, so he stops to try to get directions to the cabin. And of course, the old man's kind of a asshole. He's like, you don't need to be out here. Like, and then he tells him where he wants to go with the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yeah, you don't want to go there. You just want to go turn around and go back home. And then of course he has these three, I guess these are his nephews or kids or something. I can't remember.
I don't know if like two of them are his son and the other one's from England. I don't know.
Yeah. But clearly these three guys are big goons in the little town there. It's a very small town. Everyone else seems to be pretty afraid of them. Plus it seems that, like, at least from what I can gather, the whole blood stalker thing is something that's been conjured up to kind of like promote a myth so that people don't go snooping around, because these guys are poachers. Spoilers here. So these guys are alligator poachers. They go and kill alligators for the skin and then sell them for boots or whatever the fuck they do with them. But
yeah,
in order to sort of keep tourists and nosy people at bay, they dress up in these like almost Bigfoot looking things, even though they sound like cheetahs or jaguars.
Yeah.
And scare people away from their product, which they actually are storing at Mike's house. Like it's abandoned, so they just figured, well, we'll put it to use and just store our shit here. So that sort of becomes the problem.
Yeah.
When Mike decides to continue on to his cabin. How did you feel about like the setup with the story and everything?
Well, the story kept you like, like, I'll be honest, I kind of figured this is what was going on.
Yeah.
Like, not exactly. I figured it was like a person in an outfit kind of thing, but like, it not knowing that at first, it kept your attention, at least, like, what's going on, when are they going to get attacked? And when they left the car by the front of the road like that, I thought that car is going to get fucked with so bad. And sure enough, it did. I don't know if that was mud or shit on it, but like they messed that car up pretty good. And then that cougar or whatever sound like was scary. And I don't know. It's like, then you find out that, he was a mental ward and that. So it kind of makes you think, like, is he just imagining this, or or what's
Yeah, he
going on,
almost
you
gives you
know?
the impression that like either two things: either he's gonna freak out and kill him himself, or he's gonna go like Rambo and destroy these guys like in some
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
I can tell you now, neither happened. In fact, one of the weirder thing is when they're first at the gas station and they come across the old man and his crew, they all have guns and knives, and yet they're threatening them basically. And yet Mike's like, I don't care. We're gonna still go to the cabin. I'm like, dude, we're going home. Fuck
Yeah,
this shit.
yeah,
But they didn't, everyone else is like ready to go home, but Mike's like, nope, we're going. We're already out here.
yeah,
So mistake one, he's like continuing to go out there, and it's really, for a while they seem like they're kind of enjoying themselves. They go skinny dipping even though they're in their clothes.
Ugh.
Um,
Well, no, they weren't. They weren't in their clothes because you saw her
I thought they
tits
were
in
still
that.
in their clothes.
No, no. I was thinking about like they don't even know this place and they just went right into that water. Like,
Yeah.
what if that's like, something's in there that they should like,
Well,
or
I mean, there's gators everywhere, so
gator, yeah, that too. And then right after that, they show like a rattlesnake. So
yeah,
there's probably snakes in the water. Fuck that. And plus, it's getting dark.
yeah, yeah.
Not a care in the world. They didn't care.
Now it is kind of funny because you mentioned how dark the film looked at time, but there were other times where it was supposed to be dark, but it looked light as hell. And I
Yeah.
think they had to do that just for the camera so that they could actually get some shots.
Yeah.
Because there's a part where after Mike is kind of coming back from trying to get help from the town, he's evading these poachers, and he jumps into one building that's empty, and like I said, I would have saw him, but no one saw him. It was like supposedly dark, too dark to see him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so they're hanging out, and of course Danny and Jeri are kind of getting it on at one point. She's got some little nightie on that I'm like, I don't know, baby, you're gonna get bit by a bunch of mosquitoes with that.
Yeah.
But they're having a good time. And of course, we have the moment where he's trying to be creepy. Danny's trying to tell ghost stories or whatever the fuck he's doing. And then that arm comes through and grabs Jeri. And that's our first glimpse of what is kind of supposed to be these stalkers, blood stalkers that are out there. They look kind of like Bigfoots.
Yeah.
Outside of the shadows that we see earlier in the night.
Yeah. Well, there is that scene in the water where
yeah,
she sees it and he don't see it, but he's like, it's just a cougar or it's just an animal.
Yeah, he keeps saying cougar. Every time a cougar sound happens, he's jumpy.
Yeah.
He gets all scared. So yeah, once it attacks Jeri, then they know that, something's hunting them. And so that's kind of the impression the film wants to give you, that we have some sort of creature out there, or creatures that are trying to hunt them down. And of course, he ends up shooting their little dog at some point. That's so random, but
How though? How did he do that?
he was just shooting through the cabin, and I guess the dog was out there or something.
Yeah, but wasn't he shot like to the roof?
Yeah, well, that's one of the problems with the film. When people do the review of the film, they're like, yeah, he shot up there, but the blood ended up down by the door. so
Yeah.
so it's really a bad editing job, and from whatever they were trying to convey to us, the audience didn't do a very good job. So you caught it where he's shooting up, but the blood is down there. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, because I was expecting one of them to fall off the roof, open up, and there, oh, I see it, and it's the dog. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
The dog was not making that racket.
yeah, especially on the road, the dog's like running. Like, how the fuck did he even get up there? But yeah, anyway, Mike decides that he's gonna run and go try to get help from the town. Now, coming through, like, one dude's mute, he can't even tell him where to go, where they're looking for, but he's trying to last. And then you got these hot chicks that are out there, and they can't help because their boyfriends are assholes, and like, nope, go away. Everyone, nobody wants to deal with these guys. Then the church guy, that's the best. Like, the black church, like, the pastor's there, and he's like, yo, Matt, we need help here. And the guy's like, sorry, can't do anything for you. And they try to do this like great job of showing the anguish on the priest's face, that he doesn't, like he's feeling guilty about not helping them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like your movie is not that serious, dude. So like you didn't have to spend a lot of time doing this.
Yeah.
But I'll get to my kind of thoughts after it in terms of like what I would like to see done. But yeah, so they just spent a lot of time in places they didn't really need to be. So like you said, the setup takes a bit while to get there. It's a little bit too long. And then of course, this moment where Mike's trying to get help is taking a little bit too long. And then we get to where the other three, they're being attacked. They finally, one of the creatures gets inside and starts attacking them, but you don't really see anything.
Yeah.
Until, of course, when Mike ends up getting back and he kind of knows that they're going to be in trouble, but he manages to come across an off-duty cop who gives him a ride back.
Mhm.
And as they go in, the cop can't handle his beef, so he's vomiting. But we get this great kill scene. Like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I love this. This is one of the best things I've seen about the film. That's sort of why I kind of like said, "Oh, this looks like it might be pretty badass."
Yeah.
I'm catching this, And so, like, and then we got Jeri. She's hanging, blood. She's kind of like just kind of swaying in the blood, and then of course, Daniel. He was the one with the axe and the Sith. And somehow he ends up getting the Sith into the neck and holding him up against the wall. Again, this for people that don't really understand, like that trailer is kind of misleading me because it makes it sound like Daniel's the guy that is going to be this hero or going to be the main character, but he's really not. He's like the worst character of all four.
Yeah. I guess he kind of mustered up a little courage there, but it didn't really do much. I can't imagine him knowing to swing at the right moment. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. It's like, dude, I don't think the creature even had a weapon at that time. So it's like,
yeah.
And of course, the creature is not really a creature. It's just these three bozos that are dressed up as animals that, again, are using this myth that they're trying to create that there's these creatures that stalk people. And this is to keep them from trying to be nosy about their, taking skins because they're not supposed to be doing that shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Mike, he gets back there and the cop is going to go back for help because he knows that there's a lot going. He sees the bodies and he's like, we're going to need some more help. But as he tries to go out, he gets attacked, loses his hand, and then someone cuts his throat. And that's, of course, when Mike, he's got his watch. He has his gun first. I think that's the first thing that happens is he grabs his shotgun. The one guy, the old biggest dude that is in there, he's the one that was dressed up, comes down the stairs. He's got all their skins in the bags.
Yeah.
And so he shoots them with the shotgun and kills them. That sort of alerts the cop. And then that's when the rest of the fallout happens where this bald dude who ends up getting the skit to his fucking throat through Mike, but he's the one that ends up killing the cop first. And then that takes away that angle. So now it's just Mike and the last dude with the, as they say, the paper mache hat.
Yeah.
Looks kind of like a wrestler.
I thought that was the wrestler from the 80s.
Yep. I was thinking the same thing.
I don't remember his name.
It's not the Bushwhackers, right?
No, it was like Hillbilly Jim.
Yeah, it's this dude on the right. He's the one that was last. And yeah, so he gets the axe to the crotch. We don't get to see that, but or to the lower stomach, I should, not the crotch.
I thought it was going to go right up his crotch too, though.
Yeah, because that's the way the slow-mo was going. He's bringing it up instead of over. He's bringing it up. So yeah, Mike ends up killing him. Now, after that, he's like pretty much on foot. His car is toast, so he's got to try to walk back, and he's walking back to the town, but he's going to continue through it. I don't know where he's going to go because he'll probably die out in the Everglades at that point because they're pretty far from civilization there.
Yeah.
But he goes through, and of course, we get some of the people that he was trying to get help from that are now concerned about his well-being, and he's like, get the fuck away from me, as he's got a shotgun. It's like his baby now, he's not trusting anybody. Clearly his PTSD is kicked in, and he's also sort of catatonic now. He's just at a loss. He lost his lady, lost his friends, and It's pretty much how the movie ends, where he's just walking down the dirt road and there's just nothing out there. I don't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah,
But
he just keeps on walking.
now the one thing I will say is this would actually make a pretty good remake. If they did it right. Obviously, you have to make the story much more coherent and stronger.
Mhm.
I kind of made up a quick little thumbnail of what I'd actually change the title to. It's just not very inventive. I would just call it Amongst the Mangroves, and then threw some names in there that might make it more interesting to the public, especially with the modern take. But obviously, you'd have to have a better director. I would still like to see the same kind of gore at the end, like that we saw, like just better effects, of course. But
Yeah.
it's one of these movies where, like, if you made it a remake, it'd come out pretty good if you did it right. But if you're not going to try to take it seriously or make it better, don't bother. Like, it doesn't
Right.
mean this is like a great film on its own. It's just that it has possibilities. I think it almost
Yeah.
gave me like I don't know if you ever saw Rituals or Deliverance, but it has that kind of vibe a little bit about it.
Yeah. I
So
was thinking
that's sort of,
like
and somebody mentioned that it was like one of the earlier type of slasher films too, which in some ways
yeah,
it is.
yeah. There's not much slashing in it, just after effects for the most part.
Right.
But yeah, I was gonna say he ended up kind of at the end like almost like Ash Williams, and this predates Evil Dead, so
Mhm.
not that they were influenced or anything, but it's just funny how it's like blue shirt and jean, and yeah, it's nothing like Evil Dead, but still, it's a cat. That's well, I'll get into it, but I don't understand why the poachers didn't just go there when they like weren't there at the time,
Yeah.
or like I don't know, scare them away and then like run in and get it, and while have the other ones get the stuff and just go. The place was huge too, so they could have like just snuck in any time. I mean, they did. I don't know.
Well,
Nobody had to die.
right. Yeah, you could have easily just said, "Oh, well, yeah, we know your place is, but to be honest, we've been storing some of our stuff there. We just need to get
Yes,
it out for you."
yes,
Because they were all wrapped up, so there's no way they would know like what it is. You could just
yeah,
say, "Yeah, we've been collecting furs or some shit, or seeds or whatever."
yeah,
The other thing is, like, when Mike and the cop get there, they see the carnage, and Mike's pretty distraught,
yeah,
and there's talking going on. Now the big dude's upstairs in the attic, and he doesn't hear anything, and he
yeah,
starts throwing out the bag. So it's like he's up there but doesn't hear the talking downstairs, which is weird.
yeah,
And he doesn't even know that Mike's there until he turns around and gets the shotgun blast to the chest. So that's a little weird. Like, it doesn't make sense in terms of like what's going on and
yeah.
who's aware of what. Um,
True.
yeah, this was a very disjointed film. Again, it has a lot of possibilities. I just kind of wish it was better made, but there are some people that kind of look at it as like a cult film, but I don't know how far up the cult status ladder it goes because
Yeah,
of all the disjointedness. But one reviewer I did will look at, a lot of people butchered the film and said it was terrible, but he's like, I don't know what they saw, but this is what I saw. And he
yeah.
made some good points about it, but what is your overall feeling about the film?
Um, I think about this a lot with like certain movies. Like I say, they drag on. If if you could just edit it more and like cut down the whole. Well, I know the driving scene they're talking, so at least there's that. But then like there's just like him running through that water, and they had to slow motion it with that music playing. And then the whole time where he's trying to talk you can't understand hear them at all. It's
I
just the
think I think
choir
that was
music.
intentional. I think that was intentional.
Well, it went on for too long. It's
That's what
like,
I'm saying. That whole
like,
segment just went
yeah, it's
like
like
it's like the
stupid.
director said, "Okay, I've got this cool movie, but I'm gonna make it serious where the guy's trying to get help and the church won't help him." Like, it's almost like he had an angle with it, and I can't prove it because I don't know anything about the director, but it's almost like he wanted to say, "Well, religion sucks. It's sort of like he was kind of pushing to the
Right.
fact that no one who was religious would even help this guy.
Yeah.
And then like the other part, like why does Mike have PTSD? Because sure he got to kill the guys, but it's not like he was some military badass. He really was fortunate, is what I would call it.
Yeah.
If he had to go chase him through the swamps, they probably would have killed him. Like he wouldn't have survived.
No.
And that's the other angle too. He's a guy that was in a mental ward. Why bring that up? Because why? It makes no sense.
Yeah.
So it looks like the director again was trying to play around with like, I want to make a serious movie, but then not serious.
Well, I mean, the idea is good. The premise for the movie is good. Nothing wrong with the actors. I mean, when they first see the creature and the face they're making were pretty funny, but like, all in all, I didn't really like dislike it. Well, I didn't really like the Daniel, to be honest. I think he was so fucking annoying.
Yes. That's why
Very
when
annoying.
I saw like because when I saw the trailer, I looked it up and it had that title. I'm like, do I have the right movie? And then I realized I do.
Yeah.
And then I tried to figure out like, why does it mention him at all? Like, and then even the trailer is like focusing on him
Yeah.
while trying to say that Mike's this like lunatic that they took along for the ride.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on? Why? What is this? I got to figure out the mentality here because he's not even a bigger part of the story. It's all Mike.
Yeah. When they supposed to be, he was supposed to be a movie star, or him and his girlfriend.
I don't
or
know
something.
if he was. I know that Jeri was a stripper because he brought that up about her whoring when she went back. So maybe he was a movie star and he was just trying to get her out of the business or something. But
Okay.
yeah.
I couldn't stand him. Like I thought it's like, this guy's trying to joke around too much. I didn't mind Mike or his girl or the other girl.
Mhm.
The old man was a funny, not funny, but like just the way he was, the redneck, was funny. But like
that ending sequence where Mike pretty much put everybody in the same spot that his people were, and then the old man's like, "Don't," and then he's like wiping his eye, and they have these like
he's like, look over here. Oh, I know that was so bad.
I was like,
so
what
bad
are they
looking.
doing? What is this?
It's bad
Oh.
cuts, man. Editing is everything.
Yes.
But yeah, I won't watch this again. I won't watch it again. It was just too much that I didn't like about it.
Yeah.
Well,
what is your Ghoul rating?
Oh God. A 3.
Okay.
3. Yeah. The story was fine and the women were hot. That was it.
I give it a 10. No, just kidding.
Oh, if you said 10, I would be like, I don't think I can do this anymore.
I can't do this show anymore.
I can't do this if you can't take it seriously.
No, I rated a 4.
4.
I just because I do like the gore effects at the end. I like the setup. You don't get to see anything like as far as the kills actually happening, but I do like that they try to be as shocking with it as possible.
Yeah.
Again, the story has possibilities. It's just not well executed, and if they remade it into a much stronger film, if you just get a better director and flesh out the story more and at least mix it up, like you said, like the early part, you can have that early part of the setup, but maybe give us a little bit of backstory on how that Bloodstalker myth started. You know what I mean? Just kind of give us a reason why that's even there. Yes,
or something,
because you need
or
something
maybe
to
you
kind
didn't
of
have to
fill
meet
in that,
so many
that little bit
people on
of,
the way.
yeah, you need something to fill in that kind of boring setup that we got going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, but they haven't done one yet, so they probably never will.
No.
That's how that goes.
Unless it's under some other kind of title that we don't know about. I don't know.
True. I don't know. I don't think I saw anything that mentioned it, but that'd be interesting. So anyway, I know your pick is called Dream Scenario, starring Nicolas Cage. I have not gotten around to watching that yet, but we haven't decided on a date yet. You've got a lot of personal things going on right now, so when we have a date set for that, we'll get that out there.
Yeah.
Hopefully this week, but if not, next week for sure. You got anything else going on your channel?
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of mellow right now, like
Just chilling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, understandable. Definitely understandable that. For me, tomorrow, I'll do my kaiju spotlight. I'm gonna hook up with Sci-Fi Century to do Titanosaurus. Focus in on that kaiju. Friday, we're doing a retro movie show with Kevin Lambert on the Entertainment Headquarters, and we're reviewing the movie Legend with Tom Cruise and Mia Sara. And then that's pretty much it for this week for me. Next Tuesday, I'll be doing a Cinemax Synergy with Kevin Lambert and Anthony Jordan and Tony if he wants to be a part, if he's up to it. We're going to be doing the movie review for Mimic with Mira Sorvino. So that's going to be on that one. So in case you're around and want to do that, you're welcome to join us.
Just the first one?
Yep.
Okay. I never saw the sequels.
I think I saw the second one, but it's probably been many years, and I probably didn't like it as much.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like it was one of those films that needed one, but you know how it goes.
I remember liking the first one.
Yeah, the first one's good. Yeah, for sure. I think one of the few times that I liked a sequel and there wasn't really necessary for another one was like The Fly. Fly 2 was not bad, you know.
Yeah.
So. But anyway,
yeah.
Go and like and subscribe to Mr. Tony the Dead. Like and subscribe here if you enjoy the content. And as always, let us know if there's something you want us to review and check out. We'd be glad to do that for you guys, as we're always up for anything, any challenge, good or bad. You might surprise us. You never know.
True.
But we appreciate the support as always. And we'll see you next time on the Meltdown Radio podcast.